Ghostly tales, yet mirrors of human life. Hey everyone! Welcome to Encountering Chinese. Ghostly Tales from Zhai. Today, I'm going to tell you a story called Hongyu. In Guangping County, there was an old man named Feng who had a son named Feng Xiangru. Both father and son were scholars. Old man Feng was nearing 60. Despite his straightforward and upright character, their family was quite poor, often struggling with insufficient food and clothing. Later, Feng's wife and daughter-in-law passed away, leaving him to do all the household chores, including fetching water and cooking, by himself. One night, Feng Xiangru was sitting under the moonlight when he suddenly noticed a woman from the neighboring house peering into their courtyard from over the wall. The woman appeared very beautiful. Feng Xiangru approached her, and the woman smiled but remained silent. He gestured for her to come closer, but she neither approached nor left. He repeatedly invited her, and only then did she climb over the wall using a ladder. From that moment on, the two shared the same bed. When Feng Xiangru asked for her name, she replied, "I am the daughter of the neighbor, and my name is Hongyu." Feng Xiangru liked Hongyu very much and proposed to her. She agreed. From that day on, Hongyu came to visit every night, and this routine continued for half a year. One night, old man Feng woke up to the sound of laughter from a woman in the house. Glancing into his son's room, he immediately spotted Hongyu. Furious, old man Feng called his son out and scolded him, saying, "You beast! What have you done? Our family is already so impoverished, and instead of diligently studying, you engage in such frivolous and wanton behavior? If people find out, it will tarnish your character. Even if they don't know, such actions will surely shorten your life." Feng Xiangru knelt on the ground, crying and admitting his regret. Old man Feng then reprimanded Hongyu. "As a woman, not maintaining your chastity tarnishes not only yourself but also others. If this matter is exposed, it won't just bring shame to our family." After scolding, old man Feng angrily went back to sleep. Hongyu, tears streaming down her face, said, "Mr. Feng's reprimand truly makes me feel ashamed. It seems our fate is ending here." Feng Xiangru pleaded, "While my father is here, I dare not make my own decisions. If you have any compassion for me, you should forgive me." However, Hongyu remained unmoved in her words, leaving Feng Xiangru helpless and in tears. Hongyu consoled him, saying, "We have no matchmaker's arrangement, nor have we received our parents' approval. Climbing walls and sneaking around like this every day, how can we grow old together? I know of a kind-hearted young lady nearby. You should marry her." Feng Xiangru explained his poverty and inability to afford a wife. Hongyu then said, "Tomorrow night, wait for me at home. I'll come up with a solution for you." True to her word, Hongyu returned the next night, bringing along 40 taels of silver for Feng Xiangru. She told him, "About 60 miles from here, there's a village called Wu. In that village lives a family surnamed Wei, and their daughter is 18 years old. Due to the high dowry demanded by her father, she remains unmarried. Offer some more betrothal gifts to the Wei family, and I believe you can marry that young lady." With that, Hongyu left. Feng Xiangru found an opportunity to inform his father about his intention to get married. He planned to go to the Wei family for a formal meeting, but he concealed the matter of the required betrothal gifts. Old man Feng, estimating that their family had no wealth, feared the Wei family might decline, so he initially refused to let his son go. Feng Xiangru tactfully persuaded his father, saying, "Let me give it a try, please." Reluctantly, old man Feng nodded in agreement. Subsequently, Feng Xiangru borrowed a horse and brought a servant along to visit the Wei family in Wu village. The Wei family, originally farmers living off the land, received Feng Xiangru for a conversation outside. Upon learning that the Feng family father and son were scholars and seeing Feng Xiangru's impressive demeanor, the head of the Wei family agreed in his heart. However, he had some concerns about the dowry and was unsure how much the Feng family would offer. Feng Xiangru, sensing the hesitation, placed all the silver he had brought on the table. Delighted at the sight of the silver, the head of the Wei family quickly sought the assistance of a neighboring scholar as a mediator. He also wrote the marriage contract on red paper, and thus, the engagement was formalized. Feng Xiangru then entered the inner chamber to pay his respects to the mistress of the Wei family. Observing the narrow space and the shy demeanor of the Wei family girl hiding behind her mother, Feng Xiangru, after a brief assessment, discovered that despite her humble attire, she was remarkably beautiful, bringing joy to his heart. The head of the Wei family master borrowed a nearby house to host the son-in-law, and during the gathering, he said, "You don't need to personally come to welcome your bride. We'll prepare a few more clothes for our daughter, and when the time comes, we'll send her to you." Feng Xiangru and the head of the Wei family finalized the wedding date, and then he returned home. Upon returning home, Feng Xiangru deceived his father, saying, "The Wei family appreciates our family as legitimate scholars and didn't ask for any dowry." Old man Feng was pleased to hear this. On the agreed-upon day, the Wei family indeed sent their daughter. The Wei family girl was industrious and gentle, and the couple lived happily together. After 2 years, the Wei family girl gave birth to a son named Fu'er. During the Qingming festival that year, she took Fu'er to sweep the graves. On the way, they encountered a local gentry named Song. Song, once an imperial censor, had been dismissed from his position due to bribery. Despite being unemployed, he still flaunted his authority in the village, oppressing the common people. Coincidentally, on this day, Song was returning from the gravesite and, upon seeing the beautiful Wei family girl, became infatuated. Discovering that she was married to Feng Xiangru, Song thought of using money to sway Feng Xiangru's feelings. He sent servants to gather information about Feng Xiangru's attitude. Unexpectedly, Feng Xiangru, upon hearing the news, was infuriated. Knowing he couldn't confront the Song family directly, he restrained his anger, put on a smiling face, and went to inform his father Old Man Feng. Old Man Feng, upon learning of the situation, rushed out without hesitation, vehemently scolding the Song family servants, pointing fingers and cursing. The frightened Song family servants hurriedly retreated. Upon receiving the report, Song was further incensed. He dispatched several more people to intrude into the Feng family home. The intruders attacked the Feng father and son, creating chaos. Hearing the commotion, the Wei family girl left her son on the bed, with disheveled hair, and ran out to call for help. The Song family thugs, upon recognizing her, seized her and forcibly took her back to the Song residence. The Feng father and son were severely injured, lying on the ground moaning, while the child cried alone in the house. Neighbors, witnessing the scene, felt pity for the Feng family and rushed to help, assisting the injured father and son to their bed. After a day, Feng Xiangru finally managed to stand with the support of a cane. However, Old Man Feng, consumed by anger, refused to eat or drink and eventually spat blood and passed away. Feng Xiangru wept bitterly, holding his son, and went to the government office to file a complaint. He escalated his complaint to the prefecture and the governor, almost exhausting all government channels, but his case was never acknowledged. Later, Feng Xiangru learned that his wife had died because she refused to submit to Song's advances, intensifying his grief and anger. His heart filled with resentment, but he had nowhere to appeal. Contemplating revenge, he considered assassinating Song at a crossroad. However, he hesitated due to Song's numerous followers and the vulnerability of his young son. Unable to take action, he could only sorrowfully ponder day and night, finding no solace even in sleep. One day, a man with a thick beard and a broad chin suddenly arrived at the Feng household. Feng Xiangru had never seen him before. Feng Xiangru invited the man to sit down, intending to inquire about his identity. However, the stranger did not answer and instead abruptly asked Feng Xiangru, "You have the grudge of killing your father and the bitterness of losing your wife. Don't you want revenge?" Feng Xiangru, suspecting the man to be a spy from the Song family, responded with some feigned words to engage him. However, the man became angrily wide-eyed, as if his eyes were about to split open. He stood up abruptly, intending to leave, and scornfully said to Feng Xiangru, "I thought you were an upright and brave person, but now I see you are nothing more than a contemptible coward." Realizing that this man was not an ordinary person, Feng Xiangru hurriedly knelt down, grabbing his hand and said, "I was afraid you might be a spy from the Song family trying to trick me. Seeing your attitude now, I can openly share my true feelings with you. I have endured hardships for a long time, but I fear for my infant child. I worry about the extinction of my family line. You are a heroic figure. Can you help me take care of my child? The man replied, This is a matter for women, not something I can do. If you want someone else to handle what women do, please do it yourself. If it's something you want to do yourself, let me do it for you. Feng Xiangru, moved by the man's offer, kowtowed to express his gratitude. However, the man did not even look back and left. Feng Xiangru tried to inquire about the man's name, and he said, If I am unsuccessful, please do not blame me. If I succeed, I won't accept your gratitude. With that, he departed. Concerned that he and his son might face repercussions, Feng Xiangru fled, holding his son. In the night, when the family members of Song gentry were all asleep, a shadow climbed over several high walls and reached the Song household. The intruder killed Song, his son, daughter-in-law, and a maidservant. The Song family was horrified and immediately filed a complaint with the local government. The county magistrate, upon hearing the news, was astonished. The Song family insisted that Feng Xiangru was the culprit, leading the county magistrate to dispatch constables to apprehend Feng Xiangru. When the constables arrived at Feng's home, they found that Feng Xiangru had already disappeared, further strengthening their belief in his guilt. The servants of Song and the constables searched various places, and in the night, they reached the southern mountains, where they heard a baby crying. They discovered Feng Xiangru and, tying him up, began to lead him away. However, the child's cries became more intense, prompting the group to snatch the child and abandon him by the roadside. Feng Xiangru, filled with resentment, encountered the county magistrate, who questioned him about the murders. Feng Xiangru proclaimed his innocence, stating that he was out during the day and carrying a crying infant, making it impossible for him to climb walls and commit murder at night. The county magistrate decided to imprison Feng Xiangru, as he couldn't explain why he fled. Feng Xiangru pleaded, I don't care about my own life, but what crime has my infant committed? The county magistrate callously replied, You've killed so many people, what right do you have to complain if someone kills your son? Feng Xiangru was subsequently stripped of his scholarly status and subjected to severe torture but refused to disclose the identity of the mysterious man. One night, as the county magistrate lay down to sleep, a sharp object struck his bed, causing him to scream. The family rushed to the scene, illuminating the room with a lamp to find a short knife embedded in the bedstead, its blade as sharp as frost, deeply lodged about an inch. Terrified, the county magistrate and his men searched the entire official residence but found no trace. The county magistrate, feeling secretly fearful and considering that the Song family was already deceased and wouldn't seek revenge, reported the details of the case to his superiors. In the end, he not only cleared Feng Xiangru of charges but also released him. Feng Xiangru returned home to find that the grain in the jar was almost depleted. He faced an empty room alone. Fortunately, neighbors pitied him and brought some food and drink, barely helping him get by. When he thought about avenging his great hatred, he couldn't help but smile. However, when he remembered the calamity that befell his family, nearly wiping them out, tears streamed down his face. Thinking about his lifelong poverty with no one to carry on the family name, he couldn't contain his emotions and went to a secluded place, crying out in pain. After another 6 months, the case involving the Song family gradually subsided. Feng Xiangru pleaded with the county magistrate to return his wife's remains. After burying his wife, he returned home, overwhelmed with grief, contemplating ending his own life. At night, he tossed and turned, unable to find a reason to continue living. Suddenly, he heard knocking on the door. Listening attentively, he overheard a conversation between someone outside and a child. Feng Xiangru rushed to the door and, opening it, found what seemed to be a woman. As soon as he opened the door, the person outside asked, "Now that your grievances have been redressed, are you doing well?" The voice was familiar to Feng Xiangru, but in the haste, he couldn't recall who it was. When he illuminated the area with a lamp, he recognized the visitor as Hongyu. In her hands was a child, and they both smiled. Feng Xiangru, without saying anything else, embraced Hongyu and wept loudly, and Hongyu shared in his sorrow. After a while, Hongyu pushed the child forward, saying, "Have you forgotten your father?" The child clung to Hongyu's clothes, looking at Feng Xiangru with sparkling eyes. Examining closely, Feng Xiangru was astonished to find that the child was his son, Fu'er. Overwhelmed with shock, he cried out to Hongyu, "Where did you find my son?" Hongyu replied, "To tell you the truth, when I said I was the neighbor's daughter, I was lying. In reality, I am a fox. That day, I happened to be walking through the woods at night and heard a child crying at the valley's edge. Feeling sorry for him, I took him to Shangxi to raise him. Later, when I heard that your calamity had passed, I brought the child back to reunite him with you." Feng Xiangru, wiping his tears, thanked Hongyu. In Hongyu's arms, the child, as if attached to his own biological mother, no longer recognized his father. Before dawn, Hongyu got out of bed. Feng Xiangru asked her why she was getting up so early, and she said, "I'm planning to leave." Feng Xiangru was frantic, kneeling at the bedside, unable to lift his head, begging Hongyu not to leave. Hongyu smiled and said, "I was just teasing you. Now that your family is prospering, we need to work hard, rising early and sleeping late." Later, she tirelessly worked, cutting weeds and sweeping the courtyard, laboring like a man. Feng Xiangru worried about the impoverished situation and being reliant on Hongyu alone, fearing they couldn't make ends meet. Hongyu said, "You just focus on your studies, don't worry about other things. I believe we won't end up starving on the roadside." Then, she took out some silver to buy tools for spinning and weaving, and also rented several acres of land, hiring people to cultivate it. Almost every day, Hongyu would carry a hoe to the fields to weed, repair leaky roofs, and work tirelessly. Seeing Hongyu's virtue, the villagers were willing to help her. After about another half year, the Feng family's life gradually improved, becoming a prosperous household. Feng Xiangru said to Hongyu, "We've survived a calamity, thanks to your hard work. But there's one thing I haven't dealt with yet, and I don't know how to handle it." Hongyu asked what it was, and Feng Xiangru said, "The imperial examination is approaching, but my scholar status hasn't been reinstated." Hongyu laughed and said, "I sent 4 taels of silver to the academic official a while ago. Now, your scholar status has been reinstated. If you waited until you remembered this matter, it might have been too late." Feng Xiangru found Hongyu even more mysterious. In this examination, Feng Xiangru passed with excellent results, becoming a Jiren at the age of 36. Meanwhile, Feng Xiangru's farmland flourished, and the houses were expanded and renovated. Hongyu, still graceful, seemed as if she could float away with the wind. Yet, when working, she was even more capable than a peasant woman. In the harsh conditions of winter, her hands remained tender and white. She told others that she was already 38 years old, but she looked much younger, like someone in their 20s. At the end of the story, the author provided a commentary. He said, "Feng Xiangru is kind-hearted, and his father possesses noble virtues. That's why heaven rewarded them with a righteous outcome." In the story, not only the knight but also the fox Hongyu showed great righteousness. Feng Xiangru's experiences were truly extraordinary. However, the magistrate's judgment was full of errors, truly detestable. As for the flying knife that resounded thunderously, piercing the magistrate's bed, it's a pity it didn't move up half a foot. If Su Shunqin from the Song dynasty were to read this story, I believe he would raise a large cup of wine and lament, saying, "It's a pity the magistrate was not hit." Alright. That's all for today's ghostly tale. Hongyu. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please also encourage everyone to comment and share more. We'll see you in the next episode.